And good evening, everyone, and welcome out to Quebedeaux on another beautiful Sunday evening episode of Coach Speak here as we roll through Week 7. The start of Week 8 is upon us already, and Wow, guys, I know, and we'll introduce it just a bit, but the thing that jumps, can you believe that we're starting week 8 already?
Going by quick.
Yeah, I mean, it just seemed like the other day we were talking about, man, it's time for jamborees.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah.
Or even if you're not.
Yes. Well,
it still goes by quick.
John, your first time up here in the booth with us, you were down on the field. Still are a lot of games we've seen. You hadn't seen you on the field in a while, but it's a different animal up here.
It is, and I'm a duck out of water up here. But it is definitely different, but I'm enjoying it. And, talking about football and late in the season, man, the weather just now getting right for football.
Indeed, it is. It was wonderful out there. Again, this is Coach Speak, where we get together. We've named it Coach Speak because, a lot of times that's what you'll hear from our coaches, and we get into the discussions that we have here. Things get a little bit different. We've got a big discussion of what went on out at Tioga, and that one we'll talk about in a little while. But introduce this illustrious panel that we have. To my right, the play-by-play voice of the Pineville Rebels, Rich Dupree. Rich, welcome.
Thank you, sir.
You guys made the trip up to Ruston this week, and very friendly folks, aren't they?
Oh, very nice. Leading a lamb to slaughter. I mean, it just they prepare you, they feed you, and then slaughter. And then there's the slaughter. But real nice. I enjoyed meeting a lot of the members of the press box. They have prayer right before things start. That was something I hadn't experienced before.
Did you get your gift card?
And got my gift card.
Wasn't
at
that great? Look, that's right.
But you can only use it at Chick-fil-A and Ruston.
Well, then we'll just go back.
Right.
Did you try that out to know that? Is that how you found that out? Or?
No, I read the card.
Oh, yeah, that's okay.
So,
whoops.
You'll be surprised when you read yours. But anyway, there was Chick-fil-A there. There was Johnny's Pizza. There was also Raisin Cane's.
Homemade cookies.
And the homemade cookies from the shoebox were the best.
See there? Told you that. It's the game inside the game.
Yep.
To my immediate left, John Wolf, who now on record has been here more times than the play-by-play voice, Tom Boucher, who is probably watching at home. So if you'll get the bus started, I'll go ahead and chunk him under it right away.
I did ask him the other night. I said, "You are going to double my pay for this, right?" And he said, "Oh, absolutely, of course."
There you go, and I agree with whatever he wants to pay you. He's welcome to. I'm all about that. To his left, Billy French, and what a battle the Indians had in that Franklin Parish game. We'll get to that in just a moment, Billy. But how about that atmosphere over there Friday night?
Fun night of homecoming festivities. Had a good coaches show the night before. Got to see some drone coverage. Kind of was like it was a Macy's Day Parade.
You see how quick he went into that? I didn't even get to talk about setting the bar.
But we had a great night of homecoming at Tioga, and it's always a little more special when you get, you come out with the W.
Well, and you guys were set up in front of the columns out there, and I thought that just added to the atmosphere of it. And we talked about it throughout. You guys talked about it throughout the night, and they made comments as well. But being able to go out there, and I know, Rich, you guys did it last year out from the parade route.
Yes.
We were out there at homecoming. Didn't get on the parade route, but I understand we'll be doing a lot more drone coverage of our Ash stuff next year. But this year, it's just the mystique of being out there.
Well, everybody that went by, including the parade, the people in the parade, the king and queen, all that, they all saw us immediately. We were set up. Of course, everybody was trying to sneak a peek what was going on, all that. So it brought a lot of curiosity to everything. And then once they figured it out, but man, because of that, we were able to talk to so many people. Not only Coach Cook when the parade was over, but Mr. Ben Arrington, the president, the principal of Tioga, and just a host of people that we normally don't get to talk to. We got to talk to, and they had a really good time.
The only complaint that I heard from that was you cut out two of the drivers that were in there. Both my sons were driving in there, and they never made the coverage on there.
The drivers don't get any publicity. It's all about who's in the car with them.
The pontoon boat is what they were pulling. So, yeah, it got there. But let's start with you. You mentioned the king and queen going by. Homecoming queen was Jacorian Norris.
Yep, the king was Jacorian Norris, which we said he does everything from he was cleaning up trash after the event. He was doing everything.
Well, before we get into the game or any of that, it's one of those topics that's had a lot of talk about it too. I guess you've probably seen the video on it, Rich, as well. But what happened? I know there was an ejection early on in that. I think there were 3 total, weren't there? Give us a little update on that.
Yeah, there was 2 from Tioga, 1 from Franklin Parish. Basically what happened right before the end of the half, I think there was roughly around 22 seconds left in the first half. Franklin Parish is throwing the ball down the field and have a phenomenal quarterback in Ellis. Dallas. That young man's a sophomore that could just absolutely sling it. Throws one, and, of course, our safeties are Jacorian and Josh Lloyd. Hits his receiver, Grant. As soon as Grant catches it, still pivoting on one foot, Jacorian hits him. The young man gets up in the air, spins, and that's when Josh Lloyd hits him.
Right.
Well, it happened so fast, and it was so bang, bang. Boy, out comes the flags, personal foul, and then they end up called targeting and ejected Jacorian, which, again, I'm not out there. I know how tough it is to be an official. I did it for years, but on a different sport, so I understand the complexity and everything that it did. I wasn't okay with the targeting. Look, if you want to throw the flag, I understand that's a 15-yarder. Go ahead. I understand the targeting. But if you're going to throw targeting in there, I think they targeted. It should have been the second hit, not the first hit. But anyway, Jacorian ends up getting thrown out of the game.
And that's early in the game.
That's with 22 seconds left in the first half. So we lose our best player for the rest of the ball game. And then a little bit later on, they had another it was more of fighting between the DB, our Karlinski Lloyd, and their wide receiver. They started going at it on the sidelines, and both of those were ejected as well.
John, I know you're our resident official and voice of reason.
Mm-hmm. You're in trouble.
That's right.
You're in trouble.
What say you on that situation? Because I know you've went back and watched it and looked at it.
So, yeah, I mean, there's a rule change this year with receivers, and they are considered defenseless. And the way you tackle a receiver now, you either have to wrap up or use your hands. It's the blindside block theory. You can't just lay a shoulder into them.
Right.
So the receivers do have more protection. When you get a targeting situation in the judgment of the official, was that foul flagrant? And that's where the potential for ejection comes in if that official deems it flagrant. Not necessarily because he hit a defenseless receiver in a manner that he couldn't. Obviously, that's a 15-yarder, but you do have the judgment comes in, was that a flagrant foul, and does it rise to the level of an ejection?
And to be clear, these officials that are calling the game don't have the benefit of going under a monitor.
Yep.
And even though we may have a monitor and we may hit replay a number of times, they don't have that benefit. They're making the call in the moment. And very seldom is a coach or anyone else going to change their opinion after they've made that call.
Correct.
And again, obviously the home crowd there wasn't happy with the call. So if an official was going to change his mind, that might have been the time.
And I do feel that if they would have had that, of course, he could have, would have, should have, all that kind of stuff. But if they would have had replay, I think they might have kept the targeting in just for the simple fact to say, on whatever. Right. But I think it would have been, Josh Lloyd, the second man, would have been the one thrown out. Not that would have been any better, but I just think, if you're going to miss it, it seemed like the hit was a lot more closer to targeting the second hit as opposed to the first hit. But again, we don't have that. We saw it. We had a replay. We were able to go back and watch it. Of course, they can't. So, you adapt and you adjust. So
now, just to clarify things, too, John Wolf, of course, our analyst in the booth this year, still does some officiating, and so we'll never ask John for his thoughts on a particular call that was on there, but simply clarification for the rule and how it stands. So don't think that we'll ever ask John to say, hey, what did you think of that guy's call? So you're off the hook on that, without a doubt.
But going back to it, Doug, the big change, though, this year that people need to know about is, the receiver is considered defenseless. And the way you hit a receiver now, you cannot throw your shoulder into a receiver anymore. You either have to wrap them up or use your hands. So, it's something you're probably going to see in the future, that you're going to see a receiver get hit in the stomach with a shoulder pad or something and go, how are you calling that targeting? But that's the new rule this year, and that's what we need to be aware of.
And it is a brutal sport. We've talked about that for years. It seems like it gets more violent. These kids are getting bigger and stronger and faster. The equipment is getting smaller and more sleek, and so there's not as much between these bigger, stronger athletes when they're hitting each other. So you have to kind of keep an eye out for stuff like that for player safety.
And that is what it's all about. That's, what we're taught. That's what we hear, and that's what's being put into practice. And unfortunately, when you lose your best player, it leaves a taste in your mouth as a coach, as a play-by-play guy, as a fan, that, it was a game that was a lot closer in score and in competition throughout the game. And to lose your best guy that early in the process is hard to swallow, no matter what you thought about the call.
Well, there you go. We'll get back to that a little bit when we talk to Billy about the Franklin Parish game. But moving to 2-0 in district. So we're going to jump over to my man John Wolf and talk about that big win, Menard and Avoyelles, that was on Thursday night this week.
Yeah, we played Thursday night, and Menard did get an exceptional win against Avoyelles, who we knew was going to be stiff competition coming in, and they get the win 13-6. It started, we got a stop on Avoyelles' opening drive. Of course, excuse me, Avoyelles runs that double wing offense, and Menard's defense did an excellent job getting off the field. And then the first offensive possession, Cooper Scott takes a 40-yard screen pass and gets it down to the 10-yard line and sets up Jake Vaughn for the touchdown on the opening series. Next series, we come back. Asher Davis, our nose tackle, gets a fumble recovery on about the 18-yard line that sets up Ryan Hicks for a 36-yard field goal. Late in the third quarter, Ryan hits another 25-yard field goal, makes it 13-0. About midway through the fourth quarter, Avoyelles does get on the board with a fourth down touchdown pass in the back of the end zone that pretty sure he wasn't in the end zone, but he got the touchdown, and they got 6 points on the board. Menard held the 2-point conversion, and tell you what, to seal the game and run the clock out, Cooper Scott gets 2 sacks at the back half of that game, or the backside of that game, to seal it. And we had 3 turnovers. Menard had 3 turnovers in that game, and Avoyelles had 2, so we lost the turnover battle. Offensive stats weren't, just gaudy or anything like that. But I tell you, the Menard defense came to play, and to hold the Avoyelles double wing to 1 touchdown late in the game was exceptional work. I mean, even against LCA, Avoyelles put two touchdowns on the board.
So you talk about kneeling and running out the clock and all of that. I turned over and watched the end of the game after the coaches show, after the Thomas Bachman show, and that got a little interesting, too, at the end of it.
It did. I'm not sure it needed to, but it did get a little interesting at the end. And Jake Vaughn, we had 4th down. There was about 3 or 4 seconds left on the clock. And exceptional play by the sophomore quarterback. He turns around. Of course, he has the clock back in his end zone. He's running to it. When it hits 0, he slides and ends the game. So
there you go. That was
it could have been a lot more interesting, and thankfully it wasn't, and it ended that way.
But needless to say, the Eagles get out of there with a big victory, and it was great to see them go 2-0. Yeah. Another team that jumps to 2-0. Yes, sir, go ahead.
And another point, Coach Perkins' first home victory of the year and first home victory as a head coach.
The Road Warriors, they were.
Coach Perkins on that.
Yes, and look, there's nobody on that field with more excitement than David Perkins out there.
You better believe it. He's not only the head coach, but he's the biggest fan and supporter of Menard football and Menard athletics, period.
You almost didn't have a job because he asked us, was there a way to mic him? Because he was an analyst for Tom last year. And he said, is there a way that we can just mic me up, down, and let me do the analysis from the field?
I don't know.
I don't think so, Coach. I don't think so, Coach. So the Pineville Rebels made the trip up to Ruston on Friday night, and we talked about the hospitality, but Ruston's as advertised.
Yeah, I mean, they're one of the top 3 or 4 teams in the state. Continue to see that in the Louisiana Sports Writers Association poll. They improved to 7-0 on the season, 48-6 the final score. And, tough night. Pineville was playing without Aiden Tate, their star running back sophomore that they discovered in week 4, and he has been a player of the week for us. Going forward, and a young man that really wanted to be out there but suffered a concussion late in the West Monroe game in week 6, so he was unavailable to us. And the offense still had its opportunities but struggled. And another good thing about this team is its defense. We keep talking about that. The defense definitely keeps it in the game. I was talking with the quarterback after the game, and he was frustrated because the defense did so much to keep them in the game early in the contest. Again, once Ruston really got rolling, they did just that. But 48-6, the final. Pineville scoring on the last play of the game. That was quite dramatic. We'll see that in just a little bit. And, of course, we've still got our Quebedeaux Cajun Cafe player of the game to announce. and it will have a defensive flavor as well. So.
Well, there you go. And just explain a little bit about our Quebedeaux Player of the Week. We've talked about it all season long. If you've followed along, each team will name their Player of the Year out of these guys that have been named Player of the Week throughout, and then we'll pass out the secret ballot among the 5 of us that have attended most shows. So you may still be in the voting on there for that, John, if Tom doesn't make it back and not Chuck because Billy's here. So there you have that. We'll pass out the ballots and we'll vote secretly on a Player of the Year, and we'll have a little banquet.
For each school.
Yes. Well, for each school we'll have a Player of the Year out of the entire way. So each school is going to have a Player of the Year.
Correct.
And then we'll bring those guys together, and one of those players will become our Player of the Year. So
they like get seconds on their food or something.
That's right. That's
okay.
right. They get all the fixings they can have. That's right. So
we're having gumbo tonight, right?
Having your past tense had a little bit earlier. I had a bowl of it already. Well, I wouldn't feel it right if I left it up to you guys to eat and maybe it wasn't good. So I went in there, took one for the team, had a little bowl of it to start with.
Basically, while Chuck was setting everything up,
mind your business,
Billy,
Billy, because anybody that's been in the press box with Chuck Perkins knows you get out the way anyway and don't do it.
I just stand there and stare.
For 23 years that I've called with Rich Dupree, I'd have to go outside and just undo the ambiance mic. I couldn't get in his way doing anything. These guys that are so particular, like me, because, well, never mind. Y'all you find a lot of jest in that. Anyway, Billy, get us on about that Franklin Parish game that came down to the wire, to say the least.
Absolutely. 2 teams coming in at 5-1. Both of these teams, respectively, very, very high in the rankings right now. Tioga was coming in at number 9. Franklin Parish was at like number 7 or 8 in theirs. Coming in, and they lived up to the hype. This Franklin Parish offense was very, very good. Sophomore quarterback that just seemed to be able to flick his wrist and throw it 60 yards. This young man had a cannon for an arm. I'm talking about anything over the middle was with a zip. They did not have their best night, and I want to say it had something to do with Tioga's defense, but we had a couple of times where we could have intercepted that came in and out of the hands, but we opened up. We got the kickoff. Travis Adams does what he does, it seems like, every week. It was methodical, getting down there, and we score a 2-yard rushing touchdown. And then they come out here and they get we have a blown coverage in the secondary. Kenyon Grant is their wide receiver, young guy. He's phenomenal, very, very fast. He gets a touchdown. They miss the extra point, and then they get a field goal. And the whole hoopla happened again with right around halftime. They go up on us, and we seem right in the fourth quarter. We only have about 5 minutes left in game time, and again, we've not been able to score over the top as often as we would like to this year. We're more of a running team first, and then we adapt. Case Malone came in, the sophomore quarterback for Tioga. He seemed to take everything on his shoulder, and he ran the ball probably 6 times consecutively and just got first down after first down, marched right down the field, and then we had this nice little, we'll call it the T package, on the 2-yard line, and he ran it in for the score, and then the defense came in, a huge stop right at the end of the as time was expiring, and just a beautiful job by the defense coming up big when they needed to, and a 20-16 win against a very, very good Franklin Parish team.
Yeah, and had to avoid giving up the lead back because Franklin Parish was trying to make a run, and the defense just continued to keep the pressure on. That's a couple of weeks in a row because you saw the Bro Bridge game that you guys played. It was the same thing, the defense. And that defense...
Bender break. It's kind of a bender break defense. They're not going to give up the big play as often, but it seems like when they need that big stop on 3rd and 4th down, the pressure from the defensive line is there. It's wreaking havoc on the quarterback, and he's having to force stuff down the field.
It's not only talent, but those guys are playing for their defensive coordinator, John Mutter. They are really – and if they just harness a little bit of his – enthusiasm, let's say, because he's spirited out there when he's coaching. You see how that's right.
Mutter is the reason that they built extra thick walls in the coaching room in the press box to separate us and the coaches. He's phenomenal. He's fired up, and them kids feed off of that energy.
Big win. You guys got another one on the road next week, and that's going to be as tough as any of the games are as you travel up to Neville, and we'll talk about that in just a bit. But district play gets here, and games just get tougher and tougher.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Over at Alexandria, the Alexandria welcomed in the Lions of Ouachita in the District 2-5A action, and that's a lot of Doug. We might want to zoom out on that some, Chuck. Boy, I didn't even have to do this, and we got in there.
You could tell it was him.
Probably right. Probably one of the most boring first quarters of play that I think that we've seen. It was 3-0. Ouachita had that, and then Ouachita trying to add a touchdown right before the end of the first quarter. They had it 1st and goal from the 5. Ended up it's 3rd and goal from inside the 1. The football was marked just shy of the goal line, and you'll see a play coming up that was that. So you start back in the 4th quarter, and it's 4th and goal from about the 3 at that time. And Ouachita comes out in the wishbone, I guess, for lack of a better word. First time we'd seen it all night. And the only time we saw it, there was a fumble on the field, and Xavier White falls on that. Trojans were able to get on it, and probably 4 plays later, they're in the end zone. And, you know, you talked earlier, John, about defenseless players. JT Lindsey has been that this year. Defenses don't have a solution for JT Lindsey. 24 carries, 191 yards, another reception, two touchdowns on the ground, 1 touchdown in the air, a receiving touchdown. JT Lindsey, the real deal, just a junior and is a Power 5 prospect to say the least. But it was defense all night long. One of the nights we had talked about, one of the quotes that we said during the game was Josh Mercer, defensive coordinator. It was almost Josh No Mercy Mercer in that game because this defense was relentless. Xavier White, just a sophomore. Omarion Ford, Jason Blackwell, Jaden Lewis comes in, a name that you're very familiar with there. Jaden Lewis comes in, has a great job. And these guys surrounded and just ran to the football. There wasn't 1 or 2 tackles. It was everybody. And you were at the game, John. You saw it firsthand.
I did, yeah. I mean, that JT, I mean, he's a game changer.
A defenseless player. Yeah, that's right. So
he's a game changer.
We'll talk to Brett about it. Brett saw a little bit of that, too, when we get to our segment with him. But the Trojans roll up that one in, and I'll have to sit here and admit that I was wrong on the score that I talked about. I said 35-20. It ends 35-10 to take care of that. And Buckeye had a big ball game. They played Bunkie in there this week. And I don't know, the Saddler's Towing scroll that you see at the bottom of your screen right here, we were watching that the whole time, and it was interesting to see what Coach Ben and those guys were doing.
Well, between that and the text messages that we all share, you know, with each other, I mean, I think I was halfway back from Ruston and Bunkie scored again. I mean, you know,
yes.
it was just when was that game going to end? But, yeah, it went from, you know, that lead, I don't know how many times exchanged hands there, but what a game between Bunkie and Buckeye. And a game in which Bunkie come out on top.
And I got to say this, Buckeye seems to be, I know they lost to Bunkie, undefeated team. Buckeye's getting better and better every week.
Oh, there's no doubt.
From where they were at the start of the season to where they're at now.
Okay,
is a big difference.
The Jim Burlew watch is on, and he carries the ball, Brett, 47 times for 226, 47 times he carried the ball. Talked to Coach Ben after the game. They're averaging 80 offensive plays a game.
That's ridiculous.
That's why that game goes on. So it was 8:58 when our game was over with, and I know you guys were coming back. And used to, that wouldn't be the case. The Buckeye game and the Menard game were the first ones over.
Yep.
And
just run heavy and just, you know, just methodically run the clock out. But when you're having so many scores, that clock keeps stopping. I saw it. I mean, I was back and forth. Of course, you know, we get the updates and everything. And then, of course, I watch all 3 of y'all as our games are going, just trying to get scores and everything. And it just kept going back and forth. And it was really tight there for a little while, and then kind of you could tell Bunkie just pulled a little bit away. But, man, what a 2 high-profile offenses right there between those 2 teams.
Well, and Bunkie's defense was very well spoken, and Coach Ben and that group went after them and got it. So, look, they're building some big things out there. Got a lot to come up with when we come back. We've got our Southern Air Cool Play of the Game. We'll have our Quebedeaux Players of the Week that we'll announce. We'll look ahead to a little district matchup that we're going to talk about here in just a bit. That's right around the. I'm going to go sit down there. That's coming up in just a minute. We're going to have that one. We'll talk it. There you go. That one's coming up just around the corner. Don't go anywhere. You are watching Coach Speak right here on 446 Sports.
Wherever you are, you're there for a reason. You shouldn't have to make a trip to the branch to deposit a check. Skip the trip and use our mobile app to easily and securely deposit checks right from your phone, day or night, wherever you are or whatever you're doing. Download our mobile app today.
Buying car insurance for the first time can be overwhelming. Do you have enough coverage? Are you paying too much? Will someone be there for you when the unexpected happens? I'm Jason Hawk with Farm Bureau Insurance. You may think it's easier online, but why wait? We're here to help you make sure you're covered. When it comes to car insurance, we have the answers, and we may have rates that save you money. So talk to Hawk at 318-791-HAWK or online at talktohawk.com and let us help you protect your biggest investments.
As always, a big shout out to my man Chuck Perkins, who keeps everything going back there. But it's time for our Southern Air.
Cool.
Play of the game. There you go. Billy's on point down there. He's rocking his new shirt from Polos and Plaids. That's right.
Well, we wear these things 3 days a week. So we have our coaches show, we have our game nights, and then of course we come back here for Coach Speak on Sundays.
Right.
I just wanted to mix it up a little bit. I didn't want people thinking I wear the same shirt every day.
Look, it's all right. I just
so the boss got you a new shirt.
No, I bought my own shirt.
No. Let's just. How did you get your shirt, Billy?
I went to Polos and Plaids and talked to Michelle LaCour, and she ordered me this nice.
And in exchange for a shirt, what did you do?
I gave her money.
There you go. There you have it. So she provides us with one of those. And if you're looking for your school gear, go check her out down at the end of Jackson Street Extension, over there by where Max is, Papa John's, all of the. You know how I know where all the pizza places are over there. That's it is what it is. But right in that, next to the cleaners, you'll find Polos and Plaids. Go in there and tell them you saw the cool gear on the show and wanted to see that. So big shout out to Michelle and the group over there at Polos and Plaids. Southern Air Cool play of the game for the Rebels.
Yes, it was very cool. We were had a couple of videos marked already because, toward the end of the game. But the very last play of the game brought Pineville its first score of the game.
Before you go to that, explain to what's going to happen with this video this time, because in the past we've talked over it. But
okay, so what's going to happen, and what did not happen on Friday, was we didn't have the opportunity, because it is a 75-yard run. We didn't have the opportunity on the replay to go back and capture the whole play. And because it was the last play of the game, we just had to go with what we had captured with the OBS for the replay. But thanks to my normal broadcast partner, Nathan Martin, who was not there Friday because he was performing his ministerial duties here in Pineville.
Right.
He went back in Saturday and edited the clip so that we would have the full 75-yard run by Landon Grimes. So that's what we're going to see right now. It was a kickoff that was taken at the 15 on the near side, the Ruston side of the field, and he wound up returning that baby 75 yards for a touchdown. We are counting down here to this one being done. Pooch to the near side. Fielded at the 25 rather. Up to the 30, 35, 40. One man to beat. Grimes, if he could beat the kicker, he's to the 30. Grimes is to the 20. Grimes is to the 10. Touchdown, Rebels. There you heard it, yeah.
Was that the cannon?
That was the cannon.
Y'all take that with you? How do you bring that up there?
You know, it's can't tell you if the State Fire Marshal would, would have to get involved. But you know, due to this burn ban stuff, we had to get creative with the cannon. So yeah, we have that. So,
that is awesome. And I'll tell you, Landon Grimes, have seen him since he walked on campus at Pineville. He wins the Ironman, the weightlifting thing in his freshman year, right from the summer workouts. And great family, and has always been a leader for the Rebels.
His dad messaged me when I woke up Saturday morning. Won't say what time, but when I woke up Saturday morning, I had this message from Kyle telling me that I had said on the air that it was an 80-yard, 70-yard return, and he let me know it was 75. And I said, well, I got kind of caught up in the moment, and I didn't have the benefit of actually going back and watching the replay from the beginning. Yeah. But be that as it may, we made it happen. So I hope you enjoyed that, Kyle, and we certainly enjoy Landon. And obviously a great thing there for Pineville to get the goose egg off the board for Ruston and to have that very nice return.
If you don't think people are watching, mispronounce grandbaby's name, or misidentify him. Look, Jeremiah Jeffers Wright tears his jersey 2 or 3 weeks ago, and so we're not alerted for it. But Jeremiah is just a big defensive tackle in there, and we see another guy, the number that comes in there, and so we're calling the new number all night. Mama, the very next morning, said, oh, by the way, I said, well, I need to know that earlier in the game. But, yeah, you mispronounce a name or don't mention the correct name, and you're going to get got.
Yeah, but just want to rephrase that, too, is us play-by-play guys, when we do make mistakes, and we make mistakes, we have to hear it from all the people, but we also have to hear it from Doug Gann. See, we're the only ones. Doug don't have. When Doug makes a mistake, Doug's okay. Yeah. But when we do it, he's going to make sure he brings it up, either through a text or live on the air.
Somehow those end up on the cutting room floor. Yes.
Tom didn't tell me about this before I started that how many friends I would make all of a sudden that get my phone and everything else and calling and talking and before the game, and I'm like, wow.
I can neither confirm nor deny that when Tom's here, he doesn't put a little placard in front of his Coach Speak tumbler that has your number on it.
Probably so.
Yeah, he puts it in the ticker now is where it goes. Yeah, info@richdupree.com
there you go.
Is where you'll go with that. From Alexandria, we had our Southern Air Cool play of the game, and it came in two-part fashion. At the very end, you know, Ash had 4 turnovers on downs on the night, but they wouldn't have had the first one had it not been for our Southern Air Cool play of the game. And it's going to take you at the end of the third quarter to the start of the fourth quarter, and we'll get you through that. Go ahead, Chuck.
One more play. They don't have to. Could let the play clock and the game clock wind down, but want to go ahead and push in another first quarter touchdown. Walker under center. Got it. Good pressure from the back and stacked up. Should have waited and talked about it a little bit. That is magic in this one. Who's got the biggest wheel? Wishbone formation. Yes. Handoff going to go right side. Ball's on the ground, and the Trojans are going to keep them out. And look at the momentum coming off of the field for your Ash Trojans.
Xavier White.
Oh, baby X coming up.
I left that out there for you, Billy, because if you heard at the end of that, it said, look at the momentum coming off the field when I meant emotion.
I got
so
you.
There you go. Left that in there. Would not have been the fourth down stop had it not been for Omarion Ford crashing through off that defensive line and making that stop in the backfield. Led to the little bit there. And Mike should have let the clock run out and talk about things and come out in the fourth or in the second.
And the radio team that was on the opposite side of the field, you didn't even get a chance to rip them about it.
No, but I'll tell you this. I will call next year's Ouachita Ash game in an Ash jersey. 2 years in a row, have to call it in the Ouachita jersey, and now no mas on that. That's what So me and Downhour had a little wager on that. The team wins, so we got him. Mike Downhour, I'll have yours coming to you, buddy, next season. So look for that. But that is our Southern Air Cool play of the game. Set the tone. The defense did work on Friday night. John Wolf.
Yeah, so talking about defense, you know, we mentioned Cooper Scott earlier on the screen pass. Well, our play of the game involves Cooper Scott.
On the screen that he caught?
Nope, that's not the cool play.
It don't make no. It was pretty cool.
It was a cool one. But Cooper Scott involved at the end of the game, sealing it, makes 2 sacks, third down and a fourth down. And I think the video that Chuck has is the fourth down cool play of the game on that sack.
Cool play of the game may have just happened. And there's Cooper Scott again with the sack, and that's going to close this game out. Cooper Scott, cool play.
Yep, so went ahead and sealed it right there. Last possession of Avoyelles, he got the third down sack and the fourth down sack.
That big run, Cooper Scott on the screen that he caught a little bit early. We had a video clip up of that, had a couple of thousand views of it. And at the end of it, just shoving dudes down and running over people. And Cooper Scott's a dude.
He was a man amongst boys Thursday night.
There's no doubt about that. So go back and watch a little bit of that. Billy French out at Tioga. What did Jacorian Norris do this time?
Yeah, he got thrown out in the first half.
Look on our screen, and I say that purely in jest. So his mother is on there too. This is nothing but pure love. Let me tell you.
We love Jacorian, of course, and the joke Doug is making is he seems to be a part of every show because he always makes these big plays. Wasn't able to do it this game because of
homecoming
an unfortunate, a homecoming king as well. Unfortunate target call, so he gets thrown out. But as Tioga gives up the lead late in the fourth quarter, Case Malone throws the load on his shoulder. He just starts making play after play after play. And the clip Chuck's fixing to throw up there for you is that final score for Tioga to take the lead. And a little bit of a weird formation. We had some players that don't normally play on the offensive side or play back there. And you can see Case was under center, which he does not normally do. There's only the second time this game he did that. And then he got a little help from his buddies. So right here's the play. 3rd and goal here. Tioga's got their package in. They got Josh Lloyd. Under center is Case Malone, and he keeps it. And look at the push.
Oh, my gosh.
Look at the push by the Tioga line.
What's the call?
You've got to have that as a touchdown. They still have not called it.
There it is.
Tioga touchdown, Case Malone. And Case, just again, the sophomore quarterback, he did everything as soon as we needed him to. And he's always just been able to hand the ball off, get the first down, throwing the ball a little bit around. And this game here, he took it more on his shoulders of, I'm going to keep the ball, I'm going to call my own number. And that final drive, I know he had at least 8 carries on that final drive. He had over 100 yards rushing himself this Friday night and 2 touchdowns and had a great night. Case Malone, though, was our Southern Air cool play of the game.
Everybody's running the tush push now.
That's the tush push, and it works. They're going to end up banning it, though, is what's going to happen in the NFL. Yeah.
Anyway, on to Buckeye. We do have. We'll go to Scott Mills.
Scott?
Don't know where Scott's at in this one, but no, he's up in Texarkana now. But we do have the Buckeye information, and so what we'll do is we'll do the Southern Air Cool Play of the game. Chuck will let you run that, and then we'll flip right into Buckeyes Quebedeaux Player of the Week. So why don't you go ahead and run that?
Got backs on each side. They're going to hand it off to Burley. A little double reverse and a throw downfield, and there's a man. Got him!
Oh, my goodness.
At the 20, down to the 15, and he falls down at the 11-yard line. What a play.
There you go. That was Buckeyes Southern Air cool play of the game, and it was pretty cool.
It was, and imagine if he hadn't fallen down.
Right, right. Indeed, that was a good one, and I love the genuineness out of Scott and Kim on the air. It is just they're just hanging out watching Buckeye football and telling us all about it, and it's really cool.
He was a hoot to call the Pickering game with.
Did you say a hoot?
A hoot.
He was a hoot. Okay.
He was a hoot. Yeah.
A hoot. All right, we'll do that. Well, another hoot was Buckeyes Player of the Week, and that is Hayden Boone. Did Tom prepare this slide? Because there's no picture on there. That's what over there you go. I ran right back over you, Tom Boucher. There you go. So Hayden Boone, we're not sure what did Hayden come out of there with. Okay, we'll get back to that. We need a little more pre-game on that.
Brett's still eating the gumbo.
I don't blame him for that at all. So, Billy, we'll work our way back down with you. Tioga's Quebedeaux Player of the Week.
Yeah, well, it goes hand in hand with our Southern Air cool play of the game. Case had the game of the year for himself, being able to run the ball, didn't need to throw the ball. Again, like I said, had over 100 yards rushing in this ball game, had 2 touchdowns. So Case Malone, our sophomore quarterback, is our Quebedeaux Cafe Player of the Week.
There you go. Good look at Case Malone, the sophomore Well, he's going to be around for a number of years.
That's
and
it.
Yeah, that Tioga offense is going to continue to roll. John Wolf.
Yeah, so staying with the defensive theme, our Quebedeaux player of the week is Asher Davis, our nose tackle, number 34. Asher's only 5'7", 200 pounds, and playing that double wing, he was stacking that line up and creating havoc on the Vols. He recovered the fumble to set up the Ryan Hicks first field goal also.
What are we doing with the coach up there, too? How did that happen?
You'll have to ask Tom that.
I'm not asking Tom that, no. Go out and see those guys at Wildwood Pizza on Wednesday nights. That's fun. That show is from 7 to 10. Go out there and enjoy some of that pizza. That is the Eagles Nest Coaches Shows, but congratulations to the Menard Quebedeaux Player of the Week. Moving over to Alexandria, and we've heard it before. And before the game, we talked to Bachman, and Coach Thomas Bachman said he'd like to get 25 to 27 carries out of or touches from JT Lindsey in that game. And in our pregame talk, we said that I expected him to go between 150 and 200 yards in this game because he just gets stronger, and he gets stronger as he goes. And, in fact, he finishes with 24 carries, 191 yards, 1 catch, and he adds, I think, for 6 yards. And he had 2 touchdowns on the ground, 1 touchdown through the air. JT Lindsey, which I feel, you can tell me if you're wrong, at me if you'd like to, the clear-cut favorite for Sunlight Player of the Year is JT Lindsey. But he is our Quebedeaux cat. I threw the gauntlet down, didn't I? I see what I did. He said, not so fast, my friend, over here. We'll get Brett's opinion on it. But Rich Dupree, what do we have from Pineville?
Staying with defense, because that was the highlight for Pineville from a defensive standpoint. And one of our linebackers, number 21, LaMarcus Thiers, who had 11 tackles on the game, is our Quebedeaux Cajun Cafe Player of the Game for the first time this season. For LaMarcus to get that award, and again, it was between him and Zane Seitz, as well as a multi-time winner in Jacob Miranda. So again, each of those young men led the way tackle-wise for Pineville, but LaMarcus Thiers, a young man that we're excited to see continue to grow with that Justin Charles defense.
That seems to be what we talk about each and every week, how it's some other player that is doing something else on that squad. It's every week that it's somebody else stepping up and making a big game for the Rebels.
And again, you know, excited that when we get to the end of the year, we'll be looking very strong because out of the 7 weeks so far, 4 of the 7 weeks have been defensive players that have won the award. So, yeah, it'll be a heavy mix of defense when we select our player of the year for the Pineville squad and to compete for the overall award.
And all the while, Jalen Whitty out there doing his thing, too. When he started throwing the football, he's really opened up, too. I like the play of Jalen Whitty as he's progressed throughout his senior year.
He has. He's showing the ability to scramble with the football, make some things happen, and, you know, playing with a very young squad of wide receivers. So he doesn't lob the ball very much. It's straight bullets that he's shooting when he throws.
Some good insight on Hayden Boone, the player of the week from Buckeye. 5 catches, 62 yards, and a touchdown. Also made some big defensive plays for Coach Ben McLaughlin and that Buckeye Panther team. So that's congratulations, Hayden Boone, on your Quebedeaux Player of the Week. Going to take a break. When we come back, we'll visit with Brett McCormick just a little while, and then we'll look forward to our upcoming matchups and then Chalk Talk. All of that's on the way. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Coach Speak right here on 446 Sports.
Is your vision just not as crisp and clear as it used to be? Are you having difficulty driving, especially at night? Are you over 40 and now needing reading glasses? If so, the trusted eye care team at Wallace Eye Associates is here to help with your family's eye care needs, just like we have been for nearly 40 years. Call Wallace Eye Associates today at 318-448-4488 to schedule your next eye evaluation.
BK Distributors is proud to support high school athletics on 446 Sports. BK is the one-stop shop for trophies, banners, awards, letter jackets, and just about anything award-related. And now, welcome BK Apparel and BK Promotions to the family. For all your spirit apparel needs and anything you need to brand your business. When you think of anything you need with your name on it, think BK. Check them out on Facebook or at bkdistrib.com. BK Distributors, Apparel and Promotions in Pineville.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Harrell, Certified Residential Appraiser. I am currently a leading provider of appraisal services for mortgage lending, employee relocation, estate planning, and community property settlements. My experience in real estate over the past 13 years and currently serving as president of the Greater Central Louisiana Realtors Association has given me a clear understanding of the real estate world and the ever-changing market we live in today. For any of your valuation needs, give me, Kimberly Harrell, a call.
Time for our red, white, and cool summer event at Southern Air Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Right now, you can save on a new energy saving system. No money down, 0% interest, and no payments till June 2024. Call Southern Air Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing or visit us online.
Welcome back to Quebedeaux for an episode of Coach Speak, and saw that commercial. I've eaten the gumbo, and that still makes me hungry every time I see that commercial, but can't say enough about John Valenzuela and his family here. Spoke to his son Antonio a little bit earlier when we got here, and just a tremendous family, and anything for the community they'll step up and do. You absolutely know that.
Yeah, great people, great supporter of local sports. And all of his boys, including his youngest, still playing sports at Louisiana Christian University as a defensive back. So loves this area, loves central Louisiana, and that's why they've made such an investment on both sides of the river with 3 very unique and different restaurants that they have open, with the one that we're in being here in Pineville across from Procter & Gamble, their cafe style, and very nice ambiance here.
Yeah, come by, check them out for lunch, dinner, whatever it is that you would like. Now, Brett McCormick joins us for a brand new segment we call, well, a segment with Brett McCormick. I got nothing. I'm about out of anything else. Brett, your take on this week's games?
Where to start?
At least Primetime was happy about that name, so there you go. Sorry about that, Brett. Go ahead.
Let's start Thursday night. So Thursday, Menard, a huge win over Avols. And, I do stats for you guys, but I don't normally stat defensive stuff. It's it's extremely time-consuming and complicated, but Cooper Scott had such a huge game that I said, okay, I'm gonna track him as I keep these stats. And I had him for 18 tackles.
18?
My goodness.
3 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, and a forced fumble. And John mentioned 2 sacks on the last 2 plays, but the play before that, the second down, he broke through and tackled the running back in the backfield. So he had 3 straight tackles for loss to end the game. And whether it's running the ball or playing linebacker, he is a man. I mean, he is a big dude, 6'2", 215, 220 pounds, and makes plays all over the field. So that one stood out to me Thursday night. And then Friday, I guess, really the big one for me was Tioga's win over Franklin Parish. I thought, we talked about it earlier, Case Malone really grew up in that last drive. And Coach Cook told me he kind of had to show that he was at the helm, and now there's no doubt that he's at the helm of that offense. And I think moving forward, you're going to see him get more and more opportunities to make plays. They kind of, I'm not going to use the word protected him, but there were some games he didn't have to do much, and then, they were kind of cautious with, how much he ran, and I think he showed Friday night that he can really make plays in that read offense, and I was very, very impressed with that young man.
What are you looking forward to this week?
Gina Bunkie.
For sure. I am too. I'm not even going. I'm not going to be at that game, but I'm going to be following it.
I know. I know we got 5 here, but I'm not going to lie. That's the one I'll be at. 7-0 versus 7-0. But I mean, obviously, Ash Pineville. I think anytime those two teams get together, it's a personal thing for me. I used to coach at Pineville. My wife is a Pineville alum. Thomas Bachman is one of my very good friends. So definitely personal to me. So I will be following that one, but I'm not going to lie, I'll be down in Bunkie watching the Panthers and the Giants.
The beauty of it is you could be down there and have that phone going and keep up with everything at 446 Sports on YouTube.
How about that plug?
There are 2 broadcasts, and we did post those, so you can go over to my man Rich Dupree, click on the Pineville broadcast and listen to that one, or you can come and hang out with us and listen to the Ash side of it too. There'll be identical calls. You can just about imagine that the tone and all of that will be the same. No, he shakes his head at me.
It's going to be very difficult for me to choose which one I do for my review. I'm not going to lie, I don't hear everything you ever say because I do fast forward between plays.
Get out.
But I hear a lot of what you say. And,
just remember who's known you longer.
I mean, that is true. That is true. We've known each other for a long time. Not as long as y'all have known each other.
That's right. But you can check Brett out at 1T Photography. There's a plug for my buddy Brett on here. I'm just going to throw that out.
Appreciate
gracious.
But that one's one to watch for sure. And then Tioga's got a big one too, going up to Neville, and the biggest test of the season for them, I believe, and see how much that young quarterback is ready to make plays against a really, really good defense.
Without a doubt. So we're looking forward to that. Playoffs starting to not shape up in the slightest. There's so much movement. The only person that can project the playoffs out this far is Primetime.
Yes, sir.
He already knows who's going to make it to the second round.
The crazy thing is we're about to be in week 8. I mean, it seems like we just started this thing and we're in the back half already.
Coach Bachman and I were talking on the Thursday night show, and he said people come up to him and said, "Man, can you believe the season's almost over?" And he looked at him and said, "For who?"
Yeah.
Look, no, it's full speed ahead and go and get it. This is a lot of good football being played in this area. So
for sure.
Brett, we appreciate what you bring to the show as always. Got a box over there for you, by the way, too. For you, it's going to have one of our Coach Speak mugs in there, so you can have that for all that you do. Grab you some gumbo, but thank you for everything. When we come back, we'll get into Chalk Talk. That'll give us an opportunity to look at our records, look at results, and look at upcoming matchups as well that are around. This is trouble. I'm gonna be in so much trouble tomorrow.
If y'all can see under the table the
again.
elbows that are going over on that side.
Now, this is just a lot of love here on the show. Tomorrow is going to be a whole different story. I can only imagine that. Don't go anywhere. You're watching this episode of Coach Speak right here on 446 Sports.
Our mobile banking app is changing the way we bank. Things are getting easier, transactions are getting safer, and you have access 24/7. All the functionality of banking you're used to, made easier to use, anywhere, anytime, and more secure than ever. Simple, seamless, safe. Download our mobile app today.
For a lifetime of the best possible vision, look to Wallace Eye Associates, where our tradition of eye care excellence in Cenla spans nearly 40 years. From your next family eye exam to cataract and glaucoma evaluations, trust your vision to the experienced eye professionals at Wallace Eye Associates. Call Wallace Eye Associates today at 318-448-4488 to schedule your next eye evaluation.
Time for our red, white, and cool summer event at Southern Air Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Right now, you can save on a new energy saving system. No money down, 0% interest, and no payments till June 2024. Call Southern Air Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing or visit us online.
We are back to Coach Speak. John Wolf joined us again. Rich, how about that aptly named segment we just had? Segment with Brett McCormick. We got to come up with something else for that.
We're going to call it Back Talk.
Back Talk, yeah, we do get our fair share of that. But John Wolf joins us again, and we're going to take our episode of Chalk Talk out there, and we'll look at last week's results. There you go, the fancy little Chalk Talk logo that is up there. And week 3's results, Tioga gets that he's got week 3. And look how quickly I just fell in and believed that. Week 7's results, Tioga gets the win over Franklin Parish 20-16. Ash with a big rout of Ouachita 35-10. Buckeye drops that one, and it was it was 35-34 at one point in that game. And talked to Coach McLaughlin, and it just seemed like the wheels fell off of that. Menard with the big Thursday night win, 13-6, and Pineville goes up to Ruston and sees what a lot of people, including the Trojans, sees, that Ruston is really, really good. Look over at the standings. Rich, why don't you take us through that?
Well, at the top is Tioga at 6-1. Ash is right there at 4-3, along with the Panthers from Buckeye. Holy Savior Menard, too, is also in that quartet of 4-3. And just so we can be different, we're at 2-5.
You'll show us. That's right. No, but again, you talk about the Rebels, and we've talked about them over and over. Every week you look around, and they're just making plays. They're just a few players, and there's some depth away from being able to finish, because those 2 5A teams really wear you down and really have a lot of athletes.
Well, there was a lot of discussion coming back about that, and Pineville, the biggest of the high schools here in the area, but they're not athletes
right.
For the most part, and that is a struggle. But hey, they play all the way to the end, and that hasn't always been the case with previous Rebel teams. But they are under Bryant Bell's leadership and the coaches that are on the staff. And they'll continue to play strong. And as you head into the last 3 games, 2 of them are at home with Ash and West Ouachita before going to Ouachita. And, there's an opportunity for the Rebels to get a couple of wins over those last 3 games.
You talk about playing down to the wire on this. Case in point, Landon Grimes. There's 1,000 reasons that he could have just went out of bounds or slid down or anything. But all he does is take it 75 yards. I got it right, Kyle. 75 yards to the house on that as time expires. And a lot of folks would have just found a way just to get out or go to contact and be down and be done with.
Sure, and both teams had done their fair share of onside kicks in the game, which is unusual on the 5A level, but both coaches were, serious about it from the beginning and doing the kicks where you kick just over the front line and try to get down there and recover. But yeah, in the end, Pineville was able to get a score, and that was as much hurt to Ruston, who wanted the shutout, as it was a help to Pineville to get a score on the board, and for a very deserving young man in Mr. Grimes.
Absolutely. So we'll look at our final portion of Chalk Talk, and we'll see the upcoming games. Billy, why don't you take us through those?
Yeah, absolutely. Tioga is on the road.
Did he say Tigel?
Tigel is on the road. Yeah. We're heading to the powerhouse Neville Tigers in Monroe. Don't know if anybody's ever been there. I have personally. Loved the atmosphere there is phenomenal. It's a college atmosphere. And you can feel the whole ground shaking and everything. It's a phenomenal experience at Neville. Ash travels all the way to Pineville to play. So you get to hear in the background. We get to hear our buddy Randy James as well on both calls.
Can almost hear him from here when it's a home game for Ash. Randy does such a great job.
Yes, he does. Buckeye at Caldwell, and then Menard is going to be traveling to Rose Pine, and then of course Pineville is going to be hosting the Ash Trojans.
Menard with a chance to go 3-0 in district. John, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so they got Rose Pine this week. Rose Pine's 1-0 in district. They beat Pickering last week, and they're 3-4 on the year. Look, you can't come off the Avoyelles game with a hangover and go face Rose Pine. Rose Pine's a run-heavy team, and they're not in Avoyelles. I don't know if we have Vegas odds or if Brett does that, but Menard would be favored in this game.
Oh, we have them very close to us over there by the gumbo. We have the odds on those games.
But Menard should be going into this game. They're going to be favored, but they still have to show up and play, and it's a run-heavy team, and they got a shot, to go 3-0 in district.
Be interesting to see what Coach Perkins and Coach Scully talk about on the Wednesday night show there at Wildwood Pizza at 7 o'clock. You'll be able to hear about that and how they're going to avoid a letdown going into Rose Pine when they have the district championship squarely in their sight, in their grasp, and in their goals. So should be an interesting show Wednesday night.
Yeah, I think, take one game at a time. You got Oakdale tail coming the following week, homecoming festivities, so you can't look too far ahead and take this Rose Pine game serious Friday night.
Billy, you guys have your show Thursday night. Is that correct? Right here at Quebedeaux.
Yes, Thursday night, the reservation roundup right here at Quebedeaux Cafe. We do it every Thursday night here, and they have a special menu for Tioga fans. Make sure you wear your Tioga gear. You get a little special menu, and I'm telling you, you cannot go any fast food restaurant and get any close to the price that they're giving us here at Quebedeaux. So please come out, bring your family. We've had a packed house almost every night that we've done this. We would love to keeping, we want to make sure that Quebedeaux is taken care of, as well as, all the stuff that they do for us here as we get ready to head to Neville. And that Neville team, everybody knows Neville, how good they are. It's like talking about West Monroe or talking about all these teams, and the only shot Tioga has is to jump on them early, get some turnovers. They're going to be 3 deep in every position. You're going to see they're going to line up from the 1 yard line to the 1 yard line on that field, and they're just going to be all huge players, a lot of D1 prospects on that team. Tioga has been known to be able to jump out on top of teams a lot early, forcing turnovers, getting touchdowns. If Tioga can do that, Tioga can stand a fighting chance here against that Neville Tigers team.
Well, there you go. Sounds like they've got a lot of upsets in mind. Thursday night will be a Thursday night edition, well, I guess it always is, isn't it, of the Thomas. I hate that shot, Chuck. I really don't like that one at all. But the Thomas Bachman Show will be over live at Walk-Ons, expecting a big crowd because it's Rebel Week.
It's Rebel Week.
Yes, it's Pineville Rebel Week, and what a week this is. How are we've got to be able to do a dual show somehow.
Yeah.
Why don't you guys come on over to Walk-Ons, and we'll do the show there simultaneously.
Okay, and
Look, he's zooming in, and I didn't even do this. No, we better not do that. We'll save that. You guys can come over, and that'll be a lot of fun. But your show is at 7 o'clock as well.
No, our show's at 6 o'clock.
Well, then you got to get on over there. We'll do a 2-hour session.
At 7 o'clock.
We'll do
it. Then we get some great wood-fired brick oven pizza,
right?
And meatball marinara and all that good stuff.
You see how my man's getting fired up in this? That's what I'm talking about. there's the helmets banging around, and no matter what the records are in this game, no matter this is going to be a battle. It always has been through the years, and if you're looking for a good football game with great atmosphere, there's no place better to be than D.C. Bill Bates Stadium on this Friday night.
Well, it's a good thing, too, because both teams obviously don't have to travel very far. Hopefully Ash is going to think that they're playing the same team they played in the Jamboree, and they're not. It's a much better team. But I'm sure they'll be ready. Pineville will be ready. This is a Red River rivalry game, as much as playing Tioga tends to bring folks out. I think when you talk about Pineville, Alexandria, it's the 2 biggest communities here in Rapides Parish. It's the 2 biggest high schools in Rapides Parish. It's a great opportunity to come out and enjoy football. Weather will be just right.
Yeah.
And so hope you'll come out to D.C. Bill Bates Stadium. It's a great place for football, and they of course encourage you to get there early, and parking will be a premium.
So I got a deal for you.
Got a deal.
Got a deal for you.
All right, go ahead, Monty.
This is kind of like the Washita battle on there too. So if Ash wins, you got to wear this shirt to work, and if Pineville wins, I'll wear that shirt to work. How's that for that deal's not going to ever happen.
Not happening. Not happening.
Still not going to happen. Look, this is high school football. This is. If you don't think local high school sports is where you need to be, don't watch our broadcast. Get your tail down to the stadium and watch some good football. But it's not just the game. It's the dance line, the cheerleaders, the bands. There's going to be so much atmosphere that's going out. One of the better PA guys in the area. He will get you fired up if you're a Rebel fan, and he'll annoy the snot out of you if you're a visiting fan. Randy, I say that truly in love, brother. You know you're solid at the craft that you have.
Hey, John, how you doing? Me and John are still here, by the way.
You want to go get some gumbo, Billy? Go get some gumbo and a drink?
Look, it is Ash, it is Pineville, and it's going to be a slobber knocker. Looking forward to a big one there. Final thoughts, and we'll do this quickly. Rich?
Looking forward to Friday night. Looking forward to Thursday night at Jim Deggy's, and want to encourage folks to come out Friday night to Pineville High School and enjoy local football at its best.
I'll echo that sentiment. Get out there and watch the Trojans roll up another big victory this Friday as they'll move to 5-3. 4-3 is where we sit. Moving on, John, your final thoughts
on this or just Menard?
You got to get me out of trouble that I'm in already. So proceed, please. There you go.
All
back
right.
anyway.
Yeah, we're back, and Gavin Hilton wasn't here this time, but obviously the two football helmets over here got into it. But anyway,
that caused a lot of the chaos. That's right.
Yeah. But, no, good week of football going into week 8.
Week 8,
and,
yes.
If you're in town, come out to a game and looking, Menard going to Rose Pine is going to be a good one.
Billy, wrap us up.
Big game here. Both teams coming in with only one loss. This is going to be basically for your district. After last week, this will be the district, kind of the front runner basically for the district. Neville always is prepared. Tioga's going to need to be prepared for this big game. Should be a fun night in Monroe, so stay tuned. Make sure you watch. Tioga fans will be there. They're going to be packing the house like they do every ball game. But if you're not able to make it, make sure you check us out on 446.
There you go. For my man Chuck Perkins pushing all the buttons, most of them right. Brett McCormick, who supplies all the stats. Prime time, who comes in there and gives us the betting odds. We didn't get any of those tonight, but we'll have that in our discussion afterwards. Billy French of Tioga, John Wolf filling in. I don't know if I'm going to recognize Tom when he comes back.
He'll be back Wednesday.
He said he'll be back Wednesday, but Sunday show, I don't know. I don't know about that. My man Rich Dupree, as always, come out and see us. I am Doug Gann. God bless you all, and good night.